No video today because my webcam just crapped out, or is it because I'm a ghost? Woo-hoo! Yes, that's right. We're doing a Halloween thing, day before Halloween. If you, like me, save everything to the last minute and are looking for a way to add some Halloween pizzazz to your porch, if you live in a country where Halloween's a thing, I don't know. You guys from all over the world, I don't know how much the world does Halloween, but you are probably aware of it. It's a spooky day. With like pumpkins and stuff. So I was thinking, let's make a little video that you could project on a pumpkin so it looks like the pumpkin has a face talking. And to clarify, so you'd have the pumpkins kind of set up here, and then you have a projector over here kind of shining a little animation onto them. And actually, one thing I always like for filmmaking are these little Pico projectors, which it looks like, you know, I don't know. They're probably a good one's probably around $100 these days. But apparently they're cheaper. Just for projecting anything anywhere, like if you're doing like a sci-fi restaurant or something, being able to project a menu on something to kind of give it that weird, glowing, cyberpunky kind of feel. I don't know. They're really fun. Anyways, we're going to be using drivers and basic projection mapping. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to test out our improv chops by hitting record and recording some pumpkin dialogue. Welcome to my porch. That couldn't have gone better if I'd planned it. Gonna open up the screencast keys here. I'm gonna try to do this without a bunch of editing, because in theory I have a party I could go to, but only if I can do this real fast. Video editing, because Blender has a video editor. Oh wait, I'm gonna rename this so we can actually find it. We're gonna call it Halloween Ghost. Shift A down here. We're gonna add in a sound. We're gonna paste in that location again. There's the Halloween Ghost. Open that on up. Display the waveform. I'm gonna, yeah, the volume already looks pretty good. Oh, look at that. It even gets red when it's clipping. That's fun. Happy Halloween! Alright, and so let's see. What's the hotkey? I haven't done this in a long time. I think it's for splitting K. So you hit K, and I'm going to have one of the voices be up above and the other one be down below so that I can kind of have them overlap if I want. So I can grab this and hit G to just pull that there, and G, it's basically just regular. I think you can even like scale. Oh, that slides. That makes sense. Happy Halloween! I hate it when you do that. Alright, I ended up not doing the dual track editing because they're not actually talking over each other all that much. So what's fun about doing the audio editing here in the video editor is if you go back into the viewport and hit play, well, you can still hear everything, which means we can actually animate to the audio track. And here, let's just go right now, playback. To sync, let's sync to audio, so we make sure whatever we're doing is going to match that audio track when we start animating. And, okay, this is a thing I've talked about before. I love being able to turn on auto keyframing here. That means whatever frame you're on, if you do something and then we go later and change things up, it'll automatically add these keyframes and interpolate everything. That also means if you hit play, welcome to my porch. Look at that, it automatically animates the cube doing the thing. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a pumpkin face, and then we're going to try to animate it. However, we're going to run into some complications, which we'll get to in a moment. So first, let's just cut it out. And we're going to do it kind of the same way you would on a regular pumpkin. I made a plane here. I'm going to tab into edit mode so we can control the vertices. And the big thing we want to worry about is overlapping geometry, because here we can use the knife tool with K and make our little triangle, but you'll notice when we apply it, it's going to connect to the edges here. You can't just have floating geometry in the middle of a plane. It has to be, all connected. And this piece here might intersect with the other eye, so we're actually going to model these in ourselves. So I'm going to go from here down to here, just to make sure that, the connectors are where we want them. And the knife tool is confusing, so we're going to go here, here. Enter to apply, do it again. And the same thing here, just coming in from the side. So this will be the edge of the mouth. Do some, like, creepy teeth. And cool. Yeah, I think that'll work great. Here, we can delete these pieces here, and we've got our good silhouette. All right, now to animate it, we're gonna use shape keys. I love shape keys. They let you just grab the vertices and drag them around however you want. First we're going to add our base shape key, which is just saying the default rest position, because what all these actual shape keys are is just storing offset data. And so with this selected, now if we go into edit mode and move something around, it's going to store just whatever difference in location these are from what it says in the base shape key. So here now the value is just from 0 to 1 of that offset. And what's cool is you can also go -1, and this slider now goes to -1, so you can move things around. In fact, here I'm going to delete this one, and let's add a new shape key. And I want the slider, when I pull it to the right, I want the mouth to open. So I'm actually, before I add this, I'm going to start with this mouth as closed as it can kind of get here. Cool. So now when I add the shape key for opening mouth, and I slide it that way, the mouth will open and shut. And we can actually, I'm not worrying about the fact that this, normally you wouldn't want the geometry to be perfectly intersecting like that, but that's because of render errors, and I'm really only worried about the silhouette here, so this will work great. If we make this go to like -0.5, that means we can also have the mouth close almost all the way. I'm gonna turn off this one. Let's add a new one, which will be eye height. Just do the exact same thing here. Pull these eyes up. And this will go from -1 to 1, so now the eyes can go down and up like that. Cool. Let's do an evil eye kind of one. Yeah. Angry eyes. Oh, that's great. And I want one for him to be able to look left and right, so I think I want to kind of skew. I think this might kind of read as the pupils. Which one makes it look... Yeah, that looks like he's looking to the right. And maybe rotate them a little bit and move them that way. And if we go negative on that... So the interesting thing, because remember, this is the default, and we have the offset going that way, which means the opposite isn't it slanting the other way, it's actually going to just keep going up that way, which is what we're seeing here. And so if I want to be able to have it go back and forth, what I actually want to do here, let's delete this one here and do looking eyes. I just want to slide it left and right, so I'll go Control-Alt-Shift-S, which lets you kind of slope things a little bit. So I'll just move it all on that axis, and that means it'll just slide. If we go -1 here, we can slide it back and forth like that. And I'm going to do one more, which is going to be, let's see, evil mouth, or angry mouth, yeah. Going to slide it up to just below the opening mouth, just to keep everything together here. And for this one, I'm going to grab these teeth. I'm going to shrink them down to 0, and make them pointy. Alright, so now we're going to turn all these on, reset them all to 0 here. And now I think they've changed something in Blender, because I used to just be able to auto keyframe these shape keys here. So it would be as easy as just hitting play and going, welcome to my porch. And it would add all those keyframes and everything would just work. Except in this case, you'll notice it didn't add any keyframes. You can't do this anymore. And I've done some looking around, can't seem to find that. However, you can still do it for cubes. And so if we use a driver to automatically map the location of the cube to controlling the shape keys, it should still work. And if you've never used drivers before, for some reason I don't use them a lot, but they're so powerful. So let's see if we can figure this out a bit. We've got our little pumpkin guy here. Let's call this guy mouth, yes. And adding a driver is as easy as right-clicking on, I guess, the value here and saying add driver. And this opens up the driver panel here, and all this is saying, okay, you want to control this value with some other variable from somewhere else. And so the object here, we can say, let's use mouth, that cube over there, and we say the X location. I think I actually want to use, I think if I move my mouse off this panel, this will disappear. It's okay, it's worth it. You can see the Y-axis right here, and this is the X-axis. And so we want to use the Y-axis for when I move up on here from 0 to 1 on the Y-axis. In fact, here, let's mark this out. 2, 0, -1, -2, and same here. So as I move from 0 to 1 on the Y-axis, I want to be able to open this mouth. So I can drag the cube here. Gonna right-click, edit driver. Great. We've got mouth, Y location, and it should just be going already. Like, it's that easy. Hello. Ha 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 ha. That's great. That's great. And just to kind of make it a little simpler, as you move an object around, its location in 3D space moves too. These are the coordinates of that location in the Blender viewport. And so like right here, if we move this to the world origin, you can see everything is set to 0. That's the center of the entire scene. And as we move this up, if we move it to 1, it's here on the grid. That's how it all works. And so all we're doing is we're telling a driver, use whatever number's here, and if it's 1 on the y-axis, make it 1 right here. So add driver, use the cube on the y-axis, and it goes, and the value is -1, 0, and 1, and it just matches that. And actually, I'm realizing at this exact moment that it's a lot easier to puppeteer the face when you're doing it live, so I should probably do that instead of pre-recording the audio and trying to sync it all up after the fact, but we'll just do it this way. And I want there to be a secret mode for when he gets scary. When he says something scary, he can open his mouth really wide. And I don't want that to start till the cube gets all the way up here. So it's kind of a secretly accessible mode, you know. And we can do that in the shape keys here. We'll right click, we'll add a driver. And you can see, all right, we'll use that same mouth cube on the y-axis. And the expression is actually, we've just made a variable here, which is the location of the mouth on the y-axis, but we can do some math on it. And while normally we'd be mapping it from 0 to 1, I can actually subtract 2 from the variable here. So I think it's just easy to subtract 2. I don't actually do much with expressions, but I think this should work, which means when this is right here, it actually reads as being down here. And again, just to reiterate, this value is showing, you know, from -1 to 1, transferring it straight into the shape key. When we take this variable here, this is the variable, and say variable subtract 1, we're saying give whatever result is here and then subtract 1 from it and make that power the shape key. Which is why when we move this up to 1, the value it's giving is 0, and this shape key is neutral. And the only useful thing for this in this case is it lets you control, you know, dial in where the cube is having an effect. For whatever reason, I want the cube's action to be in this zone here, and so by subtracting 1 in the equation, it moves that whole thing up a little bit. So it's not going to trigger anything happening at the 0 line until we get all the way up to 2, and then it starts actually triggering the shape key. And I think I want one more where the mouth can kind of wiggle to the left and right a little bit, so I'm going to add one more shape key. We'll call it mouth glance, the glance of the mouth. Put it up here, and that'll just be dragging this over, or actually I'm going to uncheck all of these. I don't know if you need to do that, but it can create complications where you're modifying multiple shape keys at once or something like that. Drag this over to the right, make it go to -1 also, so now we can go woo woo. Right click, add driver. We're going to go use the mouth again. This one is going to use the X location, just left to right. And if we turn our other shape keys back on, you can see we can be, hello, I'm a pumpkin. In fact, I don't want to accidentally be triggering the teeth all the time, so I might change the angry mouth driver to be subtract 3, so we have to go really high. Okay, now I'm just going to do the exact same thing I did here, but for the eyes. Okay, I like that. That's cute. I realize I can't use that same thing I did with the mouth for the evil eyes because it would just mean the eyes are looking up. So I'm going to map it to this cube too. Turn on the angry eyes, and I wonder if I could just copy and paste the driver. Copy driver, angry eyes, paste driver. So now when I move the mouth up, oh, that's fun. That's fun. So it gets angry, but you can still control the eyes independently too. We're trying to make it so it just looks like light is coming out of the pumpkin, and we could do that. However, I'm just going to be kind of cheap about it and just stick a white plane back here. Give it a new material, make it emissive, and this other plane that's a little bit larger, I'm going to make it just be, I guess, just holdout, which should just render as, well, I guess that's alpha 0. Let's actually make it emissive but black here. And then if we make the background black too, we just have this nice floating face. So, and actually, you know what? This is all feeling a little sloppy. I think I actually do want to try it the other way. So I'm going to delete the audio and just go over here, hit record. Yes. get a sense of where all of this is the play area here. Up here's the evil zone. Okay, great. Yeah, this is gonna work a lot easier. So I think all I have to do, yep, we're recording, is hit play here. Make sure we have enough time. Hello, welcome to my porch. And actually, it turns out that trying to improvise two parts of a conversation sequentially, one at a time, while trying to imagine and then remember what the other one would do, was very tricky. So, I wrote out a little script. This is what I should have done to begin with. So, but now I can hit record, make sure auto keyframing is on, go to the beginning here, hit play, and do my thing. Hello! Great, okay. So now how are we gonna do the other pumpkin? I'm gonna put all of these in a collection, hit M, big pumpkin, and I think if I just duplicated this, obviously this would still control all of them. But if we duplicate the entire thing, I think it's smart enough, yeah, that it'll automatically reroute all of the drivers to this new instance, which is really cool. So that means I can select all of these ones, go M, new collection, little pumpkin, and grab this here, delete all of these keyframes. Shift A, load in sound, big pumpkin. Display that waveform, and it should be pretty easy. Just sync the, yep, the moment that cube starts to go up, I'm gonna line it up with this here.
Hello, welcome to my porch.
And alright, gonna hit record, and gonna do the other half of the conversation. Alright, here we, make sure I've got the right mouth going, and here we go. I hate it when you do that. Excellent. Name this one to Little Pumpkin. Hopefully it all just syncs up. Cool, and there's a couple times I nudged stuff around. It was as easy as just kind of sliding a thing and then just grabbing the corresponding keyframes here, moving them to match. Gonna animate the eyes, using the exact same method. Cool, and it's all working pretty good. I want to add one more shape key here of him just looking kind of like skeptical or unimpressed. So let's add our final one, unimpressed. I don't know if that reads as unimpressed, but it's better than nothing. And do that whole little thing again. Here, I'll use a Taurus this time. Will represent sarcastic pumpkin. Yes. And here I'm hopping into Eevee so it can all be real time. I'm unchecking viewport denoising. Let's turn on bloom, and actually let's make this white inside the mouth a little brighter so we get, ooh, my goodness. Let's turn that down. Why is it frozen? Maybe because it's just frozen. Turn down the radius and the intensity. Yeah, that's cool. I can't stop doing the voice. And now, okay, how do we actually get this out onto the pumpkins? Again, assuming you have access to some kind of projector or something like that. Well, we have multiple ways we could do it. Like, you could just set up a camera in the scene right now, render out these pumpkins, and then play that video on the projector and line up the pumpkins where they need to be. But the really cool way for doing, like, projection mapping type stuff is to set up the projector right now, plug it into your laptop, set it up to be another monitor for your laptop. And to demonstrate it a little better, I've got this projector set up as another monitor for my computer. And we can actually put another Blender instance on that other window. We're going to duplicate this new main window here, which I always thought is cool. It keeps everything synced here. You're going to drag this one out to be on your projector. What we want to do is we obviously don't want to be projecting all of this other Blender GUI stuff. So I'm going to go Window, toggle Windows full screen, which gets rid of the start bar and, you know, all of that stuff. We're just going to be using the viewport here, and I want to turn off as much of this stuff as possible. All I want to see is the pumpkin, so let's see if we can do that. First, under the gizmos, I'm going to get rid of this stuff, I'm going to turn all of this stuff off here. If I turn off the overlays, that gets rid of a whole bunch of it. If I go under rendered, yeah, this is looking pretty good. And if I hit Control-Alt-Space, it'll maximize whatever, you know, my mouse is hovering over. So we get a full screen here. I can zoom in to this till the camera view fills the entire screen. This will go away eventually, which is cool. That means now all you can see is the pumpkins. If you hit Shift-Alt-Z, you can turn the overlay off and on, which can make it easier to grab them and move them around. And then I can just grab these guys, line them up with the pumpkin, easy. This is so weird. It's so weird working with projectors, and you're just like working in real life. And then when you hit play, you can watch it.
Hello! Welcome to my porch. Happy Halloween!
I hate it when you do that.
Do what?
Your stupid Halloween voice.
This is my real voice.
No, it isn't.
Sounds like someone doesn't believe in the Halloween ghost.
That's because it's not real.
Oh, yes it is.
I don't believe in spooky stuff.
Unexpected words from a talking pumpkin. What day is it?
It's Halloween, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
No, it can't be. Then that means it was 100 years ago. This very night.
You're just trying to scare me.
The Halloween ghost stood right where you stood.
No.
And demanded candy.
Candy?
Yes. 1 full-size Butterfingers
Oh.
or 3 fun-size.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, yes it is. So now I hope you've learned your lesson about the Halloween ghost.
Gee, yeah, I have, mister. Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween.
And if we want to export it with audio, I very rarely do this out of Blender, but I think it's possible. Output here, output, change OpenEXR to FFmpeg video, which gives us some encoding options down here. Oh, and I think by default it's Matroska, which I think is kind of weird. I'm going to change it to MPEG-4. I think that'll make things more compatible. H.264, medium quality, great. Audio, let's use MP3. Yeah, that seems nice and normal. And people stop talking and around right here, so we'll go 1728, match that up. Call this Porch Pumpkins. I think it's all ready, so let's go render animation. And yeah, now we've got our video and you can play it on whatever projector. So this is just kind of the first step for a lot of cool stuff. Like, obviously, since this can play live from the viewport, you could just be hiding in a window and like puppeteering the pumpkin's mouth in real time over a microphone and like be talking to people as they came up to your porch. That would be kind of fun. And they'd be like, oh, it's a video. It's like, oh, this pumpkin's actually talking. Or once you've gone through the process of lining up a projector and pointing it at something, like say you photo scan your living room, load that into Blender, and set up the projector where you have a camera in Blender, you could actually project the living room back onto itself, but relight it. So you can do weird kind of like, I think that's just called projection mapping too, like they used to do in to buildings like 15 years ago all the time. Maybe we should mess with that a little bit more. It's a cool technique, and it's really fun. But this is what we're doing with it today. Sorry we didn't have a video of my face, but hopefully you all survived. And I think I still have time. I can get to my little Halloween party. Yeah, all right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.